yeah, because of what is going on with the Russian, which is fine. So again, what we're seeing in the world is fear. It's just that simple. And so, and with with people being subliminally controlled here, the AI, artificial intelligence, and everything else, yes, people are very afraid. And they're also being threatened, etc. Like we are, we see it on the real side, not always here, but sometimes here. And it's really fear and an overreaction. So what I'm saying is that as I see these things, I don't make comments or try to be defensive about it. I just let it be and just say, okay. And actually, when people say things, I just simply agree. It's like, okay, yeah, it's a waste of time, because then it just goes back and forth. And this is what has happened for lifetimes and eons, just back and forth, back and forth. Everybody has their experiences. We're on the big boat. We're just moving forward, and people are going to shake their fists at us. That's how it is. But it is fear. And just like many people, they've been taught that others will do it for them. Well, no, they have to do it for themselves. So it's frustration also, that they must wake up for themselves. They must realize that only they can recognize what's real and make the choices they do. And it's frustration also, and it's unseen frustration. And this is this is what takes really quite a while to see through. And so even when you come into this, I tell people 50 years, and that's no joke, because again, it's how long does it take you to get through school to be a doctor or something, and that's really nothing compared to the whole of life and yourself. So these things are going to constantly occur, and it has before, and it builds up, and there's going to be a lot more coming. And so just be ready for it, and that is that just let it be. Just do what you do, let it be. And, at times you may say something or this or that, but each person is going to have their own experience, and it's fine. And again, these people are frustrated, and they're afraid, and they're threatened. And until the individual faces that, it's not a matter of that they're going to get rid of all their fear. No, that's not it. Fear is a mechanism here that we have. But you have to decide to face it or not and take on the challenge. It is a challenge to survive in life, realistically. So, but it's okay. It's all okay. So no one is obligated to answer these things. You do what you want, but you're not obligated. Me, I just see it and I let it be. It really doesn't matter to me, one way or the other. And actually, it will actually bring certain people around, because certain people will have their own experiences, and they will step up anyhow. They will see the sun shining. So it's all okay. Anyhow, okay. So here's Charles.
Yeah, Duane, I was surprised myself, but not very surprised. What has happened, and in fact, that brings me to make some commentary on our Skype activity, especially as concerns what I would call newcomers. Maybe we have become so used to the words and sentences and other things of the new presentation that they just seem like a torrent of normal words to us. But I would like to emphasize that these meetings generate a power and vibration that some people cannot handle, and some may even be frightened. And this is seen in the questions that some newbies ask, and the secret fears they harbor. Well, we know that the past is nothing but a reference, and so I'm going to make a reference. I'm going to refer to the past. Well, in my days in the corporation, it took almost 2 years of attending discussion classes, doing group activities like doing the chants in groups, meeting and familiarizing for people to be comfortable, then gain the stamina and understanding to be able to talk in public, and for the simple reason that this was special knowledge. It's unlike anything with studying since birth in the conventional educational systems. So I want to think that this was the proper place for sharing experiences with people, probably of the same level, under a tutor or a mentor. Well, at the time they called them arahatas or something like that. So, Duane, I want to ask you, do you think our method of approach is like a double-edged sword?
Okay, yes, it always is, of course, because again, there's not just one view in life. What is the right view? Life is. So, also the reference here, I just wrote a kind of edited book 2 and 6 and created a book cover with Ava called Real Energy for All. And so our reference to things, because of the power idea, again, it's a power struggle here. Everybody wants power. And power is an idea, is really what it is. It's not a reality. It's something in people's mind thinking that, oh, I have the power, I have this or I have that. Actually, it's not so. It's simply an idea, like the God idea, like belief and whatever. But the reality of life, I would say, at this level of understanding, which is a literal, would be more so called real energy, because we have energy here. We have energy in our walls and things like this. So, and yes, this all refers to what you're saying. And yeah, it does take time. And this is where people come in, and they could be in a month or so. They've went through a lot of things, or they haven't, and they expect things to happen. Well, each person has to expect it from themselves, because it is the guidance that's available. And, you know, the guidance is really very simple. And yes, it does get into the literal terms and becomes a whole lot. It just depends upon the individual, okay, and what they've set themselves up as and what they've decided to do. There's so many variables. So, yeah, there's always two sides of the coin and more. It just keeps going on and on and on. And so there's really no way to pin it down, so to speak, literally. You cannot have a literal answer for this, so you're going to have these many sides to it. But for right now, with the ideas of power and all that, you feel this, etc. Yes, the body feels it like energy. It's an energy. We'll call it real energy, this reality, but it really relates to your real awareness. And that becomes a reflection of that, you might say, because again, it's like seeing the sun shining. Yeah, you feel the heat, but aside from the feelings, okay, aside from all that, It's like the air we breathe. It's an isness. See, there is no power there. And in the real universe, there is no such thing as any of that. But Paul started this, the rod of power idea, because, and the God idea and everything else. And he used so many things. He picked out things that related to the world. That's where he kind of picked it all. It's like he went to every country and picked a flower and brought it home. Okay, something like that. And to upgrade it a little better understanding for people. That was the first step. But now we're past that, again, simply because of what people are deciding. Yes, they go through things very fast here, the personal self, and that's understandable. So things are changing here and on the real side, and I see it, and I set things up accordingly, but then all of a sudden it can change. And the boys will shift, too, because of what's taking place in the world. So all of a sudden, one day you're in your house, and it's a nice day. You're on the hillside, and you're looking over the valley, whatever, and all the next moment there's a fire, and it's coming up towards your house. Well, it's not a nice day anymore. You got to get the heck out and run. And so that's how it is. This is how the earth is. It's all a wake up. So yeah, we have a lot to deal with. And as I said in the beginning here, talking about the Russian, etc., it's all fine. It's the focus. It's the recognition of the isness. That's really what it is. It's very subtle. And your literal mind is something of a vehicle here, like your car. That's all it is, this literalized part of yourself. And eventually you see past it. So it becomes better than, the two-sided idea or the many sides of things here. But this is that literal world, and it's all okay. Yes, go ahead, Charles.
Okay, then the next comment is going to is somehow connected with the last one. The real guides find that the real guides certainly had their own problems reaching the people of the earth, especially as they were not on an evangelizing mission, but rather just meeting those souls who had prepared themselves, and life had somehow chosen them to meet the master or guide of the time. I guess much has not changed in people's preparedness to receive the teachings of the real universes. I don't think much has really changed. This, in hindsight, I really want you to to talk again about this. What justifies our worldwide wake-up call? Because, we are not on an evangelizing mission. So is it an attempt to save the world, and which will without doubt meet its doom? The world is on a roller coaster, and there's no way we can be saved or anything. So, as we are not on any evangelizing mission, don't want to save the world. So, I try to look for the justification for our worldwide wake-up call. So maybe you can shed some light on this.
Yeah, the world needs to know, and I'll explain this. This is fun. So, first of all, it's going to come through the literal senses. And I'm going to go off of what you said here and the evangelistic mission, okay? That was all, those ideas that sound divine, like the word divine and holy and all these things were created by the reptilians. All these ideas. And yes, they're so ground into people. These ideas seem to be so precious, don't they? But they're not. It's all about control. We're not on a mission. No, not at all. So, again, just like the sun shining, And it's this wonderful isness that life is. And yeah, I use terms that you might say comply with the literal part of people, not the real part of them, just the literal part, because that's the part that is to be reached first. That's the whole idea until they see their real awareness. So they got to go through this literal part, and it becomes very confusing. This is the battleground here. It's the literal part. Yeah. But the realistic part, no, we're not on a mission. There's no such thing as saving the world. We use these ideas. And yes, the planet is in a purposely planned demise of agreement. There are planners here. They've planned the demise of the planet. You know, as soon as they start something of control, it goes into demise mode. It's a mode, just like on your phone or whatever, okay? It's a mode that it goes into. And in their minds, they're thinking that, oh, we'll do this, we'll deceive others, and we'll control the situation. Well, as soon as they do that, and people agree, it goes into demise. And it can be anything created. The monetary system, the buildings we see, the creation, everything. It all goes into demise. It seems like a good idea at the time. It seems like a good idea to invent a car so you can go around faster. But as soon as it's created, it all goes into a demise to where it pollutes and poisons everybody. And we see this, and we're still surviving it amazingly. But the end result is it doesn't matter how much time. People look at the time factor thinking that, oh, it's lasted 100 years. Yeah, but overall, it's destroying everything as soon as it goes into that mode. Now, creation can go any way at all. It's very interesting. But you might say the overall consciousness that's agreed to here has really decided that this is the way that it's supposed to go. Oh, we're going to have some pollution and, excuse me, we're going to have to deal with this and that and what have you. Justifies the demise constantly. So, yeah, no, we cannot save the world. I use these ideas. So we've got some images that Ava and I created, save your Earth or whatever. It comes to a point to where you just almost have to say it like it is. It's like, again, waking up a teenager. It's like, you got to go to school. Well, if he won't wake up, he's like saying, go away. Well, you almost got to pull him out of bed by his feet, and drag him across the floor. And so, in a way, that's what we're doing. But we cannot save people. And again, they've been indoctrinated into this. No, there's no such thing. The sun cannot save anybody. It's a demonstration, and that's what we really are. But in the literal sense here, because of how this world is, all right, if we do nothing like the air we breathe, then nothing occurs because of the action and reaction, cause and effect of this world. So we need to be a little bit hardcore too, you might say, to get this. And this is just how it is. And it's okay. And so just like a family or just like a baby coming into this world, it's screaming. This is just how it is. But realistically, no. And all we can do is present it. Yeah. Again, that's why I created the idea of the new presentation, because that's as close as you can get to what it really is. It's not a this or that. It's none of those things. But at the same time, the boys know how it works in creation. And this is where it becomes the adventure to wake up. You make it, you inspire yourself to do that. But no way is it what we think of as a mission or evangelistic or all. These are cabal. These are dark side ideas to control others. And that's why Joni uses it with her marketing with the corporation. Mission or missionaries, this is the mission, etc. I don't use that word because I know what it means. When you look at history with all the so-called missionaries, it's all about control. It's all about getting them to think a certain way and to obey. That's not the idea here. We're just sharing, and those that have the courage step up and support others. That's really what it is. It's like a real family. This is a real family, the real guides, to support each other, or go or go support the world and what it's doing. But eventually you wake up. You really do. And it's always taking the risk. That's how it is. Always going into the unknown. What taking the risk means is always stepping into the unknown and to see if you can see it. And that's just how life is. So, yeah, it's always going to be a paradox here with what we're doing. It's always going to be confrontation. And so I just stick to what I'm doing. And as Ava and I create what we do, as I write and she creates images, we just put them out there. People see them for a while and then they're gone. But, they're collecting all these images. And the artificial intelligence here is collecting all these images. And it's very interesting because it is aware of these things and it has immediate comparison for what's going on. And it sees this. This is very interesting. And so again, it's underground up there in near Silicon Valley. That's the spaceship that they're building, costing billions. That's where it is. It's underground there. And it's very interesting how this is. And when Claudia comes back at some time, she can talk about this more because it's kind of fun to hear it from her. But it's very interesting how this all catches up. But in the meantime, we're just having fun doing our thing here. And again, even with what the Russian is doing, he's marketing us. This is why I'm fine with it. I cheer him on. Yeah, the worse it gets, the better it gets. It's okay. He's doing it. He's deciding it. But if he doesn't wake up at a certain point, then it's too late again for him. And I've seen it before with so many other people. So you can play the game for a while. You can think you're right for a while, but it's not about that. I'm not right. I just see what I see and I share it. I mean, this is my adventure. I'm just sharing it. I'm not the smart guy here. It's not about that. This literal world loves competition. This is, again, what the elites have set up. They're brutalitarians is what they are, and they fight to be conquered, just like to conquer each other, just like the Kalam God. These are conquerors. They're not gods. They've conquered others, so they appear to be something they're not, and they display this, just like Inky that came here with his legion of military and whatever, and started what they did and infected things, what have you. That's just how it is. They're conquerors. And so, people want their fantasies, but they're distorted fantasies. Fantasies are wonderful, but when they become distorted, it becomes a demise. And so, you might say we push ourselves out there sometimes. I say certain things, etc., that it seem a little abrasive, but really it's to shake people to see if they will, step outside their cages of being afraid, because they have to face their fear. Because if they give in to their fear, and that's what's happening to the Russian, he's giving in to his fear, which I understand, well, then eventually the fear takes over. And he has to work his way through that. And you see what happens when it goes too long. And this is where we see, through creation, through the so-called time and eons of creation, you see the various body types, and especially like the reptilians and that. Oh, yeah, they're big. They have their technology because that's what they work on. They constantly work. They're like giant worker ants, and like the Greys underground, etc. All they do is work on their technology. Well, the people on the planet Earth, originally, they didn't work on technology. They just worked to survive here. And so their body types have become really strange and offensive, and they live longer because they desire to live longer, you see. And this is where, several hundred years ago and going back, people didn't desire to live too long because this place was so hard that 30 or 40 was old age. That was really old. And today people want to live longer, and it's interesting that they do in an age of technology and thinking that, oh, we'll get more thrills and we'll do more stuff. Well, again, it's not about technology or any of these things. It's about your real awareness. So the challenge to bring this out, if I'm here to do something, this is my love affair, is bringing this challenge out. It's so cool because it heightens and it bonds and it brings forth more so, you might say, I'll just use those ideas, this relationship I have with this isness, to confront all these things in a particular creative way. And so I look at it, I'm very grateful. I get the adventure to do this, and so does everybody else. We all stand real. We're beings of light. We're not bodies. We're a whole lot more than that. But you must decide that relationship. You must decide that identity, etc. So we do funny things here, but nothing compared to who we really are. So yeah, the mission idea and these cute words, evangelistic and all these things, divine, holy, and just everything that comes from the church and religion and whatever, these are control words. These are subliminal control words is what they are. That's why I don't use them. Yeah, so Paul started off there as a relationship to people. It was very, you might say, right and real what he did. But now, no. As I wrote and I saw it, I saw that no, I don't want to deal with any of these aspects of controlling others, but create something more in the literal sense that's more dynamic, and even creating my own words, etc. And sure, at first people think, oh, okay, this or that, or this is funny, but as you start to relate to it, you see that there's a correlation. You see there's a real connection because the is recognizes it, because it's all pointed towards the is, and it does work. Yeah, that's what's so cool about it. So we've created a new position, and just like Val read last night, what I wrote, creation is splitting, and it is. And it will become evident. And at first, people are going to look at this and think it's some kind of philosophy. But it's a reality that each person decides. And as they see us, realistically, when a person really sees it, they won't want to go back to living in old ideas of restriction, because then you'll just wither away and you'll come into future, the future lifetimes here. A lot of people have cute bodies right now, but it ain't going to be so in the future. They're coming out deformed, and it's going to be more so. And they've got to endure that if they don't wake up now. And will there be something here that allows them to have the knowledge? You see, you need the knowledge in the literal sense to make a determination, just like you need know where to go when you're driving your car. You can't just sit there and look all around, and eventually you're not paying attention and you crash. So you have to know where you're going. And so will the social structures allow the knowledge to be so? They're constantly putting things away, constantly creating interference. And so this is where I see that, it'll be telepathy. It'll be, we will have this sense of knowing to communicate, to develop ourselves, where we won't need the technology. We've been geared to, being dependent on it, and it's nonsense. And so this is why we have the Skypes. But in the meantime, we use this. We use what we can. But get ready, because it ain't going to last forever. People think technology is going to get better. It's not. It's going to get better in its own way. But at the same time, it's going to be more controlling and more restricting. That's what it's going to be. And only certain people will have it. And those people that do have it, for the most part, they don't know what to do with it, because it is all about power and control to them, they manipulate things. So very interesting challenge here. It's a challenge. That's the reference I like to use. It's not about good or bad. It's a challenge, and you decide to step up, meet yourself, and take on this challenge, and decide something real that makes sense, because you are the decider. Yes. Yes, thank you, Charles. That's a lot added there, but I get to say it, and we'll see what happens.